All right, One Piece chapter 1116 caught me a little bit by surprise. I wasn't expecting it till later in the day, but I'm very excited and I have questions and I want the rest of this arc and the next arc because I'm a bad weekly reader, okay? I like binging things. So Vegapunk is continuing with his message. The world just learned about the ancient weapons for the first time. They're like, are you kidding me? There's these secret weapons that could sink the world and sunk it in the past. How could a war be going on for the past 800 years and nobody know about it? How could it go on in secret for so long? Meanwhile, we get Eam in his nice little flower garden, and I'm assuming his sacred city place that may or may not still be under siege. Are they still, like, got no food? Forget what's going on with them. But all I'm focused on is the fact that we have, I'm assuming, Lily in the garden. Like, that picture of her. She could always be Vivi, but obviously gotta be Lily. They just look very much alike. I am desperate to know the relationship between Eam and Lily. Desperately so. So we know she was one of the founding rulers of the 20 kingdoms that came together to form the world government that did not become a celestial dragon, supposedly went back to Alabasta, but never made it. We know she's a member of the Will of D, but I had been under the assumption that Joyboy's crew was like the Will of D being like a founding pirate ship. And that was all the members of their crew were given the name D. But that wouldn't make sense for Lily to be D unless she was an undercover member within the World Nobles. So that doesn't, so I don't know. I feel like her and Eam were on the same side. Clearly Lily ended up choosing Joyboy's side. The betrayal led to her death. I am really working under the assumption, so if Eam's immortal, and one of the original founding kings or queens, noble families, kingdoms, use the immortal fruit that La has, and initially it was a body swapping thing to go with that part of its ability, or maybe you have to not only give your own life for the immortal surgery, you have to take somebody else's life, or I really feel like it should be a body switch, and I don't know, because why would you, even if Eam did switch bodies into Lily's body, why would you keep a picture of yourself? That makes no sense. So I don't know, but I'm desperate to know the relationship between them and Lily. I just, clearly she betrayed them in some way. Clearly they were friends in some way. They hold some memory about Lily. We know they have an obsession with wants to get Vivi to them, and Eam's just, I'm desperate. I'm desperate for the connection between them and Lily. Cut to Alabasta, they're mourning King Cobra's death. We have those symbols with the tomoe? Those, the ones that's basically Sharingan, is how I know it from, above his tomb. And they're the same ones that were in Skypiea, which we know have a lot of connection to Joyboy. So I'm really tempted to like reread Wano or some other chapters and look for those little symbols to see if there's any connection there. Past Googling has told me that it's connected with shrines. There was a war god that it was related to. Also archery, I just recently re-Googled, and I'm like, okay, that's war and archery, sure. Water, protection from fire, life, recreation. Yeah, so that, I don't know what these symbols could have to do with anything, but they're there. So I'm wondering if there's a connection, mostly just because they showed up in Skypiea. There's also 3 of them. We got 3 ancient weapons. The weapons can be connected to water. I'm just saying, there's something there. Vegapunk is talking about the energy source that he created, and he wanted to use this for good to power the world so everyone could live in excess, not be wanting, but that he knew a piece of the ancient weapon had been stolen. And this is where some of my issues are coming up. So Vegapunk had said when he recorded the message that basically he predicted the earthquake, but the earthquake from Lelucia and the changing weather, like, you could this makes a good argument for this recording was not before an earthquake. He did not predict an earthquake, as far as anyone knows. The earthquake could happen, and then he'd be like, oh, I predicted it. Because he knew a piece of the Mother Flame had been stolen, used to destroy Lelucia. York is saying, oh, how did you know a piece was stolen? You were shocked when you learned it was by me. So she's shocked that Vegapunk knew a piece had been stolen, despite obviously knowing that only the Mother Flame could have destroyed Leloucia. So unless she was under the interpretation that he had not known Leloucia had been destroyed and didn't know that he took those measurements. But she uses that to infer that, oh, Vegapunk had known we were coming, knew about the government's plan, and this has all been set up by him, which works very well for the long-standing theory here that this has all been a trap. Vegapunk had lured the celestial dragons to the island for a reason, or minimum had wanted like the God's Knights or someone from the government to show up to be here for this spectacle, and it was all part of his plan. So she realizes that he has hid the transponder snail in the Iron Giant. The Iron Giant is protecting it, which matches up. I've seen people talk about how it was awful convenient that Luffy had ran into Vegapunk inside the Iron Giant. He'd been like phasing through things. So I'm all for that being a setup for the transponder snail being hidden in there. So I did see that theory floating around before, and it makes a lot of sense. My darling girl Stussy is still in the command center and is talking to Edison, who can no longer make any clouds, so they're trying to find a way that they can help the Straw Hats but also escape. And she is feeling so regretful. So, not regretful, but there's emotions there. So she asks for permission to release Kaku, and Edison realizes, I didn't even consider the fact that you could be friends with the CP0 agents. You've been undercover for so long. I'm sorry for asking you to betray them, but you still chose to protect us, work with us. This shows your humanity. And the fact that you still care for him and doesn't want him to face the consequences of what's about to happen as the Celestial Dragons are approaching on them. Not Celestial Dragons, the Gorosei are coming down upon them. I love Stussy. I cannot wait for her to just go do her own thing, realize her humanity, and have a crew of the Seraphims. That's clearly what's going to happen. I just want it to hurry up and get there. S-Snake is still in her little bubble, so Bubble Jail has not been broken yet, so I'm assuming when Kaku gets out, maybe she'll also release the other Seraphims. Maybe, hopefully. Would they turn on us? Would they be forced to work with the Gorosei and the world government? Or would it be enough to break their control, get their free will, and choose to help us? Or Stussy. Help Stussy. That's what I want. I'm also wondering if she's friends with Kaku. Does that mean she's friends with Lucci? Lucci, I'm against anyone who has ever hurt Robin. So, Stussy, I love you, but I love Robin more. So, protect her at all costs, even if it means killing Lucci. And Kaku, I'm willing to forgive you slightly if Stussy likes you, but stay the hell away from Robin. When Vegapunk was talking about the weapons, the loss of the piece of the Mother Flame, and the destruction of Leloucia, one of the kings was just like, wait, Leloucia is gone? Someone confirm this. How did I not know? So clearly some level of secrecy about its destruction is either it's been hidden or it just hasn't made it out to the rest of the world, which could make sense why York didn't know that Vegapunk didn't know that it was destroyed. That Vegapunk didn't know. I'm just very confused on the time frame of this video because the video message, he got people believing what he was saying because he predicted the earthquake. But the earthquake happened not that long after Leloucia's destruction, and he clearly knew about Leloucia's destruction, which means it could have been filmed after the earthquake happened. So why would anyone believe that he predicted the earthquake? And if he didn't predict the earthquake as far as people would believe, why would they believe him about the water levels rising and sinking everything? I'm just going with the belief of the people, because their belief was hinged on the fact that Vegapunk in the past predicted the earthquake. But what I'm really holding up on here is Vegapunk saying that Joyboy had attempted to make sure the ancient weapons would be passed on to future generations. And it's like these weapons sunk 200 meters of land. It was a man-made flood. Why would you want that to be passed on to future generations? Why hasn't the world sunk enough? So I'm really interested there. So Joyboy and Lily, presumably, worked to save the ancient weapons. Most likely get the poneglyphs created and spread across the world, protect it, so the message could be passed on to the future, also so people could find the ancient weapons to begin with. Unless he was only trying to protect the Poseidon, is the only one we can confirm is a human, or fishman, mermaid. Why did Joyboy want the ancient weapons to persist to future generations? Was it so they would have a weapon to fight back against the world government when Joyboy himself was gone? We know he has a broken promise. Maybe he wanted Poseidon to be reincarnated, reborn mermaid princess at an earlier time, but it had to be centuries later instead. Is there a different purpose to the ancient weapons? Are they being used as a weapon, but like the energy source that Vegapunk was trying to create to do good, to power the world, they have a better intended purpose and someone misconstrued them to be weapons? I'm leaning more towards that. Their intended purpose was not to be used as a weapon. It was for something else that would better humanity, protect them, and someone else got their hands on them and caused the flood. I'm assuming, but that's also assuming Joyboy was one of the good guys. I very much like the idea of corruption. So Joyboy being good at one point, being corrupted, the world government organizations being good at one point, trying to take down a corrupted Joyboy, them being corrupted over time. Lily realizing that, hey, the side that I was on was good, but they have gone too far. They're reaching for too much control. And turning on them. I just really love corruption arcs, so I'm all for that. But now Vegapunk got me mad at Roger, because clearly the king of the pirates and his crew knew the truth of the Void Century. They had learned all the world that it was going to offer, all the secrets they know, but chose not to tell a living soul, and instead wants people to go find the secret for themselves. Rayleigh even said, he's like Vegapunk, an old man who's already said too much, and the thrill is for the younglings to find for themselves, or something like that. Sir, you learned about a world government possibly. We're assuming the world government is responsible for this flood. I don't know. I trust nobody. You learned about this ancient flood. You learned who was behind it. You learned about Joyboy. You learned the history of the world, and you keep that to yourself instead of spreading that knowledge so someone can do something about it in the future. Clearly, whatever the secret is needs to be learned by the person who's going to fix it, and telling them in advance will not help the situation. They have to be the one to discover it at the proper time. Because while the Pirate King's crew, I do like Roger. He could be a villain for all I know, but Roger seemingly has some good intentions in mind here. They learned about it at the wrong time. They were too early. So timing is key for whatever this secret is. But knowing about it in advance and preparing for the correct time is also not the answer. You have to learn about it and act upon it at the same time, is all I'm getting from this. What the hell is Roger thinking is what I want to know. I just want to know about Lily and Eames. Is that too much to ask? Can I get the answer to that? For the time being, keep your secrets of the Void Century. Keep the Joyboy flashback. I want the Eam and Lily flashback and their relationship. I'm not giving up on the idea that the immortal surgery that was used on Eam to make them immortal involved a Lunarian, because a Lunarian was needed for something to do with the ancient weapon, the same way the mermaid princess is needed to be the Pluton and somehow connected to the Noah, and Zunichi is somehow connected to the Pluton, which is connected to Momo. There's all these little connections there. So I'm assuming the Lunarians were connected to the Uranus somehow, and Mother Flame power, something, maybe dragon, maybe a phoenix, some other creature as well. And Eam was trying to go into the body of a Lunarian, and Vivi's ancestor, Lily, stopped it. Now, initially, I was thinking that Eam went into Lily's body, but why would you keep a picture of basically yourself that big on the wall unless you got that big of an ego? I don't know. Unless Lily went into Eam's body, and Lily's the mastermind of all this. I want to know what the hell is going on with Lily, okay? That is my new obsession. I was obsessed with the Void Century and its history. Now I'm obsessed with Lily, okay? I need to know. I need answers. Oda, please just give me answers. That is all I got. I am spiraling. I will talk to you later. Bye.